Hey everyone, it's been a while, but the Newport Noctiles are back with another season of MGL. This time we're playing NFE, or the Not Fully Evolved tier. To go over my draft really quick, here it is. A couple of ground rules. Each draft got one S tier, and then two of each of the rest of the tiers until you get down to that bottom E or F tier, in which case you can have one of those guys. In addition, the S tiers are not allowed to hold an Eviolite, so getting right into it, that very much encouraged me to grab an offensive S tier as my round one, hence Frogadier with its super high speed stat, making it one of the fastest things in the metagame and protein supported offense. That's definitely the highlight of my team that I'm really looking forward to, but I am really excited about the whole draft. Ivysaur as my round two is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and it's also an NFE defensive staple thanks to its good stats and knockoff to differentiate itself from all those other bulky grass types. Hattrem, another bulky Sportmon that offers Magic Bounce support, which is amazing, and Fletchinder can offer fast offense or bulky defog sets. Luxio next, I'll admit, is a little overpriced in the B tier, and I was sniped off of the C tier Electric. I just needed another Electric type to threaten water and flying types. Vibrava is my ground type of choice next up. It's not as bulky as similarly priced options, but it does have a lot of utility between Stealth Rock, U-Turn, and a resistance to the Edgequake combo thanks to Levitate. Groudle here was actually my last pick as a C tier, and there really just weren't better options for the tier at this point, but it offers a pretty good stat block and a slightly different niche than Ivysaur defensively, plus some of that good old Shell Smash cheese. Varoom, then, is my steel type of choice, and yes, it is a problem that we're only now getting to our first Dragon Resist, but they're kind of hard to come by in this format. Varoom's value mostly comes from parting shots to make it a decent pivot. Next up is Scraggy, which is a huge bargain in my opinion. Super bulky with a lot of sweeping potential between Dragon Dance and Bulk Up. This thing is actually kind of a staple in regular NFE, so I was surprised to see it all the way down in B tier. And then lastly, Fido. He's a cutie, and he can have passable physical bulk alongside Wish and that great fairy typing, so we'll see if we can make something work with that. A couple of ground rules before we get the season started. We have an item clause of 2 of each item per team, no Terra allowed, and none of the weather extending stone items. But yeah, with all that said, my week 1 opponent is Gokey Gamer, coach of the Milwaukee Metachamps. His team's pretty cool, with a round 1 Pikachu that functions as a powerful wall breaker with Light Ball. That, along with a non-speed boost Crepuscul and a Cranidos, definitely cement this as a wall-breaking team, especially with Cutie Fly's webs to help even the odds against fast teams. They also have solid bulk between Marshtomp, Tentacool, and Shogun, and Grovyle is a big potential unburden sweeper. So we definitely have a threatening group of Pokemon to deal with. I definitely want to start off with momentum on my side, so we're going to start off here with a lead in mind in the form of Focus Sash Vibrava. This is meant to set rocks early while threatening solid damage on most of my opponent's team. Earthquake is the main stab, gets pretty good coverage, and we're going mixed with Draco to hit Shelgon really hard, as well as Giga Drain to hit that Marshtomp. Max Speed allows me to tie Max Speed Tentacool and threaten it with Earthquake to stop a spin. Next up is Physically Defensive Eviolite Hattrem, which is a fantastic Pokemon in this matchup. My opponent has no Dark types, no Ghost types, and their bug is a Cutie Fly, so Hattrem is going to be very hard to take down, and it'll be firing back with pretty strong Psychics. Its coverage is pretty standard for the matchup, Mystical Fire for Bronzor and Giga Drain for Marshtomp, and that means we hit everything in the matchup really hard. Calm Mind gives us a lot of potential to just win the game with this guy, since it takes hits so well and hits very hard after just one boost, but I'm really not sure I'll have room to set it up. My one regret is that I can't run 2 Hattrems, because I really want her as a sweeper and as a blanket physical wall. For my other defensive wall, we have Ivysaur with an Eviolite and max HP, near max speed with the rest in defense. This has enough bulk to check Pikachu and Grovyle while still outspeeding all the slower breakers such as Adamew and Cranidos, meaning we match up well into my opponent's offense as long as we're not talking about Combustion. Energy Ball and Sludge Bomb provide good stab coverage, Knockoff is nice utility in general, and Synthesis allows us to stick around for the whole match. Next up is Luxio, which is my main wall breaker with Guts Flame Orb, and this guy can hit pretty hard after the Guts boost. Facade is our strongest physical move, sadly stronger than any electric stab we get. Trailblaze sets up speed while also donking Marshtomp. Player F hits the physically bulky Shelgon, and Crunch gives us coverage into the Bronzor. Pretty straightforward Guts attacker. Next up we have Choice Scarf Frogadier, which is just here to counter Scarf any Scarfers my opponent might want to bring. Stab on both Surf and Ice Beam makes this an excellent cleaner, with the only big roadblock being Tentacle, and Shelgon and Grovyle will both make it tough to lock into either one of my offensive moves. As long as there's a resist around, it'll be a little hard. U-Turn does help us pivot out when I'm not sure what the right move is to lock into, and Switcheroo cripples a defensive switch-in and allows me to switch up moves if I feel like I don't need that Scarf. Then in the last slot we have Choice Band Fletchinder. This serves a couple different roles. It can be an early game breaker, especially useful against a lead Cutie Fly thanks to priority dual wing beat KOing it through Focus Sash. Or it can be saved as a late game piece, using Gale Winds to stop big sweepers like Unburden Grovyle or a weakened Dragon Dance Shelgon. And because we're running dual wing beat alongside Bravebird, Fletchinder could be an endgame kind of priority cleaner by preserving its full health with dual wing beat. We'll just have to be very careful that rocks don't go up in the matchup so that Fletchinder can be preserved better. But Hatchram does look pretty good to be able to do that, so I think we'll manage to keep those hazards away. That is going to do it for the team though. Let's see how it works in practice. See you guys in the battle. Alright, found Gokey Gamer and we are kicking the season off. So let's see what we get. We have interesting team here. Pikachu expected. Cutie Fly though, not expected. And then we have a Bronzor, a Grovyle, Shelgon, and Marshtomp. Okay, so we're missing a couple big threats. Combustion and Cranidos, we love to see those not around. And Frog looks pretty good with Ice Beam. Bronzor has the only resist. Hopefully that gets worn down early. I do see a Cutie Fly lead, so I'm tempted to go Fletchinder here to counter that. It's actually pretty good into that whole team. And if I feel threatened by a Marshtomp lead, for example, I can just U-turn out of that to probably Hatchram. So yeah, this feels pretty good. I think my team is well prepped for the 6 that he brought. Yeah, no Tentacle especially. It's just so nice for our Frog to see. But yeah, good luck, have fun to Gokey, and let's kick this off. Yeah, Vibrava was definitely a lead I was thinking about. Very tempting, but I think I can keep rocks off the field, so that Sash should still be useful. Alright, we get... It's the Bronzor lead, okay. As tempting as it is to fire off a Flare Blitz, I would definitely prefer to U-turn out and preserve my Gale Wings. Let's see. Oh, I still have my layout wrong. I gotta fix that. My, you see the HP bar does not actually track on the HP of the Pokemon, but we'll have to figure that out later. After this battle, unfortunately. But, I'm gonna U-turn out. They're gonna switch. That makes sense. They're threatened by the fire move. Into Marshtomp. That makes a lot of sense. They take a good chunk from it. No, Helmet is good. I assume that's Eviolite. Probably like max HP Eviolite if I have to guess. And my options are Ivysaur, which can threaten with a grass move. Or maybe I can just get going with Hatchram. Ivysaur, if I go for the grass move, there are a lot of switch-ins to that, unfortunately. So maybe I just go Hatchram. I still potentially threaten with the grass move. I have options, though. I can Calm Mind on a switch. I could just go for a straight Psychic here. Oh, my HP bar is so scuffed. I think my switch reset to, like, its default values on the, like, the fit to the screen, so that sucks. Hatchram though into Marshtomp. Psychic not doing too much. Gauge Drain does a lot, but obviously I don't necessarily want
things switching to the Gear Drain. I'll Calm Mind real quick. I want to see what my opponent can do to me. They do withdraw. Leafy Ring, Giga Drain, if I have to guess. That looks like the Bronzor, right? It is. Okay. So we get a Calm Mind up. Mystical Fire, I think it's a 3-shot against a max HP Eviolite, which I'll go for. Hopefully this thing doesn't do anything too dastardly. Oh, it's heat proof. Yeah, alright. Payback. Oh, wow. That doesn't do anything though. Yeah, that's gotta be like heat proof. Unless the Def Bronzor takes that little, right? Okay, a couple things to calc here. Payback. It did 317 minus 259, 58 points of damage. It's not invested. Mystical Fire, my +1. Should be doing more than that, so this thing's gotta be heat proof for sure. I'll go for another Calm Mind, I guess. First root Reflect. Oh, it's like a screen set? Interesting. Reflect though. That, like, okay. Well, I mean, Mystical Fire, it'll do more. I do want this Bronzor chip down. So, I could Calm Mind again though. I mean, let me just think about if I get the +3. We're doing a lot. Oh man, tough. I'll just go for the Mystical Fire. Get the chip on this thing that should stick, because I don't think Bronzor has any means of recovery. Goes for Light Screen? Yeah. So Light Screen Reflect Payback is very interesting. Go for a Calm Mind here. This thing is not doing much to me overall. They can't really bring in like a huge breaker. That's gotta be heat proof. Is that like 60%? Wonder what their switch in is for this guy. Maybe they would switch in Pikachu? They stay in. Okay. It goes for Payback. It's not going to do too much. This kind of feels like a war of attrition here. Yeah, we'll just keep going for Mystical Fire. I was kind of hoping for bigger things than just chipping down the Bronzor. They do switch out. But I will take whatever damage I can get. Oh, it's the Grobot. We Mystical Fire. That is going to be solid. Alright, cool. And it has a berry. So this makes me think like Swords Dance, perhaps? Unburden Attacker. I think even at +2, if its best move is Leaf Blade, it still doesn't take the KO. Yeah, I'm at +3, that's what I thought. This thing probably has some bulk on it, I think. Mystical Fire. It's gonna X-Scissor. This should not take me out. Yeah, not by any means. Atron's bulky, oh my gosh. It does live barely. And the screens are wearing off here. I did not check the number of turns on that, but yeah, we're fine. Yep, so we're going to trade Hatcham for Gawdbear. Gawdbear potentially a big sweeper. Freedo's unfortunate, but we're pretty low regardless. So it's nice to see this out of the way. And Pikachu probably comes in, right? So yeah, Hatcham, I mean, it looked really good in this matchup, and it did take out Gawdbear and also chip down the Bronzor quite a bit. I'm pretty happy to see that. I guess the question is, do I sack Hatcham, or do I save it to block Stealthrock's leader? I could see that being pretty useful. Ivysaur can tank a Pikachu hit. It's meant to switch in. So I think that is what I'm going to do. I want to preserve that Magic Bounce. So let's see. Ivysaur. It goes for knockoff. Okay. Doesn't do too much. 86 with a knockoff. So that is not a physical Pikachu, is it? Yeah, that was a high roll for just like uninvested knockoff, which is good to know. Could go for a knockoff on my own here. I think that's what I'll do. They're gonna switch out, makes sense. But yeah, that's uninvested light ball knockoff from the Pikachu. Yeah, we see the Bronzor. We're gonna knock out an item. It was Eviolite. Okay. Yeah, still lines up with it being like heat-proof. And here's where I bring in Hatcham. If screens go up, like so be it, right? But I really cannot afford rocks coming onto the field. That's for Ice Spinner, so we have its full set. And that doesn't actually kill. Alright. Light Screen's gone, right? Yeah. Mystical Fire, it might two-shot you. It also might not. Okay, and they just go for the KO. Don't mess with any screens. That is fine. Okay, and it's pretty low. Luxio should be able to take the KO here. I guess let me make sure, because Luxio is not too strong before that Claymore goes off. Bronzor. We're not burned yet. We should be doing at least 20% though, which I think is range, so we'll do that. Yeah, it's in the red. Crunch should take it regardless. Nice. And we're gonna set up our guts, which is pretty cool. Yep, we see the Marsh Tomp. Okay. Trailblaze is so tempting. Especially because we did solid chip to that thing with Fletchender. Marsh Tomp. Trailblaze doing a heck of a lot. If they go for rocks, Luxio's in such a good spot, you know? Am I okay sacrificing that? Or sacrificing Luxio to the ground move? I mean, I think so. Luxio is a... I could resist for Pikachu, but I still have Ivysaur around. Okay, I'm gonna go for the Trailblaze, yeah. Could be a mistake. But we get the Marsh Pump very chipped. Earth Power. So that's going to take it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Marsh Top. Yeah, there's Luxio. Earth Power. Okay. Ivysaur has potential, but Shelgon's a solid switch in, unfortunately. Vibrava could be the play here, but Beautyfly's actually still chilling in the back. Banded Fletchinder actually looking quite nice. Or actually, what about Froggear? Start clicking ice moves? That feels like the best strat. They don't have an ice resist. Alright, yeah, Froggear takes that. And there's officially no more chance of rocks going up, which is pretty nice. They're down to Pikachu, Beautyfly, and Shelgon. I would imagine it's the Pikachu that comes in. We do a lot, for sure, at this thing. Ice Beam, I mean, if it's not invested, then this just KOs. If it is, then we've lost a pretty good revenge killer for that Shelgon. But we do have a Stash Vibrava in the back. So, man, it could live. Even has a little bit of bulk. I should be favored to KO here. Let's just go for it. Okay, barely. Knock off. Alright, and we Ice Beam again, I think. Okay, yeah, we can take it. So we get the KO on Pikachu. If I was Vex there, that would have just been a knockout. So that's interesting that they brought that in. I kind of would have thought Beautyfly would have come out for something like a status move. And now at this point, so we're looking at that Beautyfly. I think the most threatening thing it can do to me is Quiver Dance. And like, I do outspeed it, I made sure of that. Ice Beam actually has a good shot to KO if it's not invested at all defensively. So we're gonna go for that. Yes, we do just take a KO. Alright, and then it's all down to that Shelgon. Which I do have a Sash Vibrava with Draco chilling in the back. So I feel pretty good about this. We could definitely see some shenanigans. So I'm gonna be Ice Beaming. I just want to pull up Shelgon on the calc to see like what it would live. Offensive Eviolite, we have a good shot to KO. So let's see. And we KO. Alright, I think we might have seen other Eviolites already. But yeah, that is game for Up to Your Queens Up by just claiming 4 Ice Beam KOs. Great. That's a 4-0 win. And yeah, that felt pretty good. I thought Hatchram would kind of be the MVP, and it did great. But it was really Froggear that came in clutch and just kind of took the game over at the end. So yeah, that felt good. Big return to Wi-Fi Draft after a break after the first MGL season. But yeah, good game to Gokey. It was very fun, and I can't wait to play more of this league. So with that, I will see you guys for week 2.